Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most recognized symbols in the entire world, the cross. But what does it really mean? We're going to explore what the Bible says about its purpose and its central role in what's described as a divine plan.
So, let's just start with the biggest question right off the bat. Was the crucifixion of Jesus just some tragic historical accident? A political execution that went terribly wrong? Or, as the Bible presents it, was it something else entirely? A plan that was actually set in motion before the world even began?
To really get the power behind the cross, we first have to talk about the problem it was meant to solve. Because it's not just some random symbol, the Bible presents it as a very specific answer to a pretty fundamental human problem.
According to the Bible, that core problem is something it calls sin. And it's not just about making a few bad choices here and there. It's described as a deep condition that creates this huge gap, this chasm that separates humanity from a perfectly holy God. And that separation is the real issue that needs a solution.
And this is where this idea of a substitute comes into play. And get this, it was written hundreds of years before the crucifixion even happened. The prophet Isaiah wrote about someone who would take on the suffering, the infirmities and sorrows of others. This whole concept of someone standing in our place is absolutely crucial for understanding the cross.
Okay, so if that separation from God is the problem, how exactly is the cross the solution? Well, the Bible lays it out as a solution with a few really powerful dimensions. Let's unpack what it was said to have accomplished.
The Bible explains it as a three-part thing. First, it reveals God's power by turning what looks like the ultimate weakness into the ultimate show of strength. Second, it's this incredible demonstration of God's love. And third, it provides a perfect substitute, Jesus taking the punishment that humanity deserved for its sin.
And on that point about love, the Bible just couldn't be any clearer. This quote from Romans really drives it home, that this act wasn't some reward for good behavior. No, it was a demonstration of love for humanity while it was still messy and sinful. The love it shows is totally 100% unconditional.
So you've got the problem, and you've got the divine solution. What are the results? Well, according to the Bible, the outcomes are just staggering. We're talking about a completely restored relationship with God and this incredible new kind of freedom.
So first, the relationship piece. That chasm we talked about, the one created by sin, it's bridged. It makes people acceptable to God, not because of anything they did to earn it, but because it's a gift. This means full forgiveness and a brand new identity as part of God's family, even being called brothers and sisters of Christ. Then there's the second outcome, this radical declaration of freedom. And the scope of it's breathtaking. We're talking freedom not just from past mistakes, but from the present power of sin, from judgment, and ultimately from death itself. It's meant to address pretty much every part of human brokenness. And all of this builds to a pretty stunning climax. The Bible doesn't just present the cross as a solution for you or me, but as the absolute turning point of all human history. This really gets to the heart of what might seem like a huge theological problem. On one hand, you have God's immense love that desires this close relationship with people. But on the other hand, you have God's perfect justice, which demands that sin has a penalty. So how can you possibly satisfy both of those at the same time?
The Bible's answer is that the cross is the one unique place in all of history where these two realities, divine love and divine justice, perfectly meet. God's love provides the ultimate sacrifice, and His justice is completely satisfied by that very same sacrifice. It's the perfect intersection.
So what that really means is that the cross becomes the central pivot point of all time. According to this view, history isn't just a random chain of events. Instead, those who lived before the cross were looking forward to this moment in faith, and those of us after look back to it in faith. It becomes the one event that redefines everything.
So we'll end on this thought. When you see the cross as a divine plan instead of just a historical accident, it really changes everything. It reframes your entire understanding of history, of purpose, of meaning. It suggests that human history isn't just random, but it's a story moving toward this single incredible point of redemption. And it invites every single person to find their own place within that story.